Let's make another randomly generated piece of jewelry. Today's numbers are drawer 7, impression die 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. This is another impression die that is more of a texture than a defined shape. So I'm really excited to use this one. This is actually one of my favorites of the style like this. First up, I need to press the metal into the die. I'm using a small piece of urethane as a pusher, and then I'm pressing, moving the urethane, and continuing to press until I pick up all of this really rocky, craggy detail. This is a tool, it's called a silhouette die, and it is basically an opening that is cut into a steel or a plastic piece of material. And when I sandwich my metal between urethane, which is the clear piece here, and the die, when I put it under pressure, the urethane will push up on the metal, forming it into a pillow shape. This technique requires a lot less pressure than when I'm using an impression die. It's a really great way to add dimension to non-ferrous metal. And it's domed about 1/4 inch, so that's pretty impressive. I decided I'm going to make a bead or a pendant, and I want to make it two-sided. I used some textured metal to make a matching piece to the first piece so that we can make it double-sided. I use my jeweler's saw to saw out both the front and the back pieces, leaving just a little bit of a rim. In order for the two pieces to fit together perfectly, I need to file a perfectly flat edge on both halves. I sand it back and forth on this diamond hone until both edges are completely flat and meet flush when the two halves are placed together. You don't want to see any light between the two halves. Holding the two pieces together firmly, I'm using a file to create a notch on either side of the bead where I want the holes to be. You can see the little notches here. And now I am extending those holes so that they kind of roughly line up, but that they reach into the center of the form. This does two things. It gives me a rough placement for where the hole will be, but it also prevents gas from being trapped inside a hollow form when it's heated, which can potentially be dangerous. I solder the two halves together, and then after I've cleaned the piece, I use different sanding attachments to smooth the edges, make everything nice and even so that that join between the two halves essentially disappears. I forgot to film it, but I drilled a larger hole through the bead and inserted a piece of silver tubing that's the same diameter of the hole. This is going to act as a liner for the bead or the pendant. I've inserted the tube, and then I am taking an awl and flaring out that top edge on one side of the tube. You can see here, flaring it locks that tube in place. I trim the other end of the tube and repeat to flare the opposite end. By having this tube that's flared on both ends, that tube is locked into position without the use of solder. I continue to form the ends of that tube over on each side until the tube is flush against the surface of the bead. I applied a patina to highlight the details, and this is the finished piece. I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to make with that really rough textured die, but I decided to use that rough, craggly texture, contrast it with a smoother, like frozen ice crystal design on the back, and combine it with a really simplified form. I think it's absolutely beautiful, and I hope you do too. Because this piece is double-sided, I did sign it, but I tried to sign it as tiny as I could, so it won't distract when you're wearing the piece. I've decided to let the person whose numbers I chose decide whether they want to receive this as a bead, if they make their own jewelry by chance, or as a pendant. The price will vary, but I wanted to give that option. If you'd like to play along with the randomly generated jewelry series, I need you to leave 2 numbers in the comments. I need you to leave a number 1 through 8 to determine which drawer I'll pick, and a number 1 through 85, which will determine which die from that drawer I'll choose. I will randomly choose a comment, make a piece, film it, and whose numbers I choose gets first dibs at purchasing the piece if you want to. There's never any pressure to buy the piece. And I know I say it in every video, but thank you. Thank you to all of you. This is kind of a new journey for me doing these continuous series on social media, and I'm kind of loving it. So I really do appreciate you. Share these videos with your friends if you think they'd be interested too, and keep on commenting. If nothing else, I hope these videos bring a little bit of joy to your life. That's all I want. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.